You kind of touched on this a little bit, when you talk about the trainings that you guys do for law enforcement, other members in the community, and talking about trauma and being trauma informed and understanding trauma. So how does sexual assault affect the survivors' mental, physical, and emotional well-being?
That's a really good question, because I know a lot of times, people will kind of throw around the word trauma, and it's a loaded word. We hear a lot about short-term, long-term impacts, and with that, I mean, that can be a lot of different things. That can look like a survivor possibly losing trust of themselves or of other people. They may not be able, their brain literally changes once they've been through a traumatic event. So with that, they may, feel like they don't have control of their bodies, or they have the fear of other things, the fear of losing relationships, fear of medical, issues that may come from the sexual assault, fear of not being believed. Also, a change in family or social dynamic. They may not enjoy the same type of activities that they did before, or they may turn to other type of coping skills that their current social group may not be in alignment with. A lot of times substance abuse is used as a coping mechanism. That's not a definite, of course, and there's always resources out there. We also can help kind of cope through that also. But a lot of people, again, will throw out the word post-traumatic stress disorder and not really understand what it means. And it can look like a lot of different things, being numb, or it could also look like I'm just going to continue on about my day and about my life and not let this, move me back, or not let anyone know about it because of that fear of being looked at differently, or even kind of the thought of, people don't really want to be looked at as a victim, or always ask like, are you okay? Or what can I do for you? They still are a whole person. Just because something has happened to them, it doesn't define them as who they are. So that can look different, of course, in different age groups as well too. I know a lot of children, like for school age, they may start to underachieve in school, or they may lose focus. On the other hand, they may try to overachieve. They may feel like, I have to prove myself to be better than what happened to me, or I can't let someone else down. It comes in a lot of different ways, and no way is wrong. I will say that. I think a lot of people may feel that they have to be ashamed because they're dealing with it in a different way. But one of the biggest things is nobody is alone in this. A lot more people, as we've talked about before, have been unfortunately impacted by sexual violence than we may know of. So just in that simple fact alone, we know that there's other people out there that can relate to us, and that's what the big part of our services, both of our services, Olive White, the center, to be able to be there for support, and to know that those support groups, those counseling, coming to court, getting that information about what's happening with your case, everything, the whole nine. That's very important, because once a person knows that they know what's going on with what happened to them, and how they can kind of feel a little bit more of that control back as well too. That's very, very important.
Right. And you did kind of briefly mention this, about how there's a lot that goes on that we don't necessarily know about, and whether that's because, people are choosing not to report, or they're nervous about the system, or like you said, right, that they're a little hesitant to even have to mention, like, yes, this is something that I might have to go through, or they don't even want to comprehend, that they might experience, PTSD, or they might experience some of these other things. And so that kind of puts a lot of barriers on.